Hello, my name is Gina Nellis, and I would like to welcome you to apaintedpet.com. Many people don't really understand how digital painting works, so I'm just going to do a short video to show you how I do digital painting on my computer. I use a Wacom tablet, which you can see right here, which has a pressure and tilt sensitive pen, which acts as my brush. I'm just going to show you a quick demonstration of how the pen works. I'm picking up a brush here and we're just going to use a black color. But it is pressure sensitive, so if I push very hard, I can get a very dark solid line. If I lessen my pressure on the pen, I can get a very, very light line. So that just shows you a little how the Wacom tablet works. The software I use is Corel Painter, and it very closely simulates traditional painting. Right now, I just want to show you a little bit about Corel Painter. What you see on the screen is exactly what I use when I'm painting. I start with a blank white canvas, and what I do with the canvas is I actually add a texture to the canvas. And I do this because I'm going to be painting. I'm just going to pick a chalk right here because I want to show you this texture that you can actually see. There we go. There's a canvas texture right there. So when I'm painting, I'm going to get a little bit of that texture. I'd like to talk now about the mixer pad. With the mixer pad, what I can do is I am just going to pull some colors out of my tomato here. There we go. Let's pick this little light color. Let's get a little bit more of this orange. How about some of this really dark color? And I think I'm going to pick up a little bit of the background tones here too. So usually when I start a painting, I will pick some of the colors out of my photograph. The other thing that I do with the mixer pad is that it acts very much like a traditional palette, and it does allow me to mix custom colors myself. So what I'm going to do here is just give you a quick demonstration of mixing. I've picked a red and I've picked a yellow. When you mix red and yellow together, you get an orange. So what I'm going to do here on my pad is I am going to mix them together until I get an orange that I like. There we have an orange. Now I can use this orange. Let me pick up my brush. And I'm going to pick up my orange, and you can see here that I can actually paint with that orange. If I pick up a darker red, I can paint with the red. So that's just a real quick demonstration of some of the features of Corel Painter. Now let's get started. We're going to start here with painting our tomato. The first thing I do before I start painting is I do a sketch. So I'm going to start sketching this tomato in here. Now, of course, I would be sketching your pet and not a tomato when I'm doing pet portraits. I also spend a lot more time sketching your pet than I'm going to do sketching this tomato here. Just going to sketch it in very, very quickly. When I'm sketching your pet, I take much more time. I want to make sure that your pet is in proportion, and that also, that it's a pretty close approximation of the photograph that you sent me. Okay, so that's just a real quick sketch. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay in some of my colors. I'm going to pick up my Captured Bristle brush. I'm going to start with this medium color here, and I'm just going to quickly lay in some color. Again, when I'm doing your pet, this takes me a lot longer. I use this Captured Bristle brush quite a bit because, as you can see, I can see the brush strokes, and I like to see my brush strokes. Most of my paintings are a little bit more on the impressionistic side, and I do that because I like to see the brush strokes in my painting. I'd like you to know that it is actually a painting and not a photograph. I figure if you want a photograph, that's what you would have purchased. Okay, let's just get a little bit more orange in here. And as you can see, we're just laying in our color very, very quickly here. People ask me, why did you go into digital painting? Why don't you just paint with regular paints? And I did paint with regular paints for years and years and years. But I did discover digital painting, and there is a reason why I like it. I did used to paint in acrylics, but digital painting using the Corel Painter gives me some advantages that I don't have if I am using regular acrylics. Regular acrylics dry very, very, very quickly. And because of that, I don't have the ability to blend. If my acrylic paint's dry, there's no way I can blend them. They're completely dry. You have to work very quickly with acrylics if you want to be able to blend your colors. Now, I've laid in a bunch of this color here, and I'm not, I'm not going to do a full painting here. But even though this acrylic paint is dry, I can come in here and I can blend these colors, although my paint is dry, which I cannot do with traditional paints. I basically have to keep either work very, very quickly with traditional paints to get the same type of effect here. And with oil paints take a really, really long time to dry. And that also can be, it takes a much longer time to do oils because you have to wait for them to dry before you can, go in and start another layer. Let's see here. Let's get a little bit of yellow. Let's put a little bit of yellow. I see a little bit of yellow here. Let's blend that in. And as you can see, we're just moving right along here. And again, this is just a very, very rough, very, very rough painting. I'm not going to, do any kind of finished work here because I just wanted to give you an idea of what Corel Painter is capable of and how the painting is actually done. I'm going to pick up a little bit of green. Let me get it. There we go. And I'm going to put a little green in here because usually your tomato will have a little stem part here. Okay, so that's just a very, very quick approximation of a tomato. Again, when I'm doing your pet paintings, they take many, many hours to complete, and this is basically being done in like 5 minutes. One other thing I'd like to show you that's a big advantage with the Corel Painter is that when I am doing a portrait, I do my painting on one layer and I do my background on another. So I'm going to add a layer in here. These are my layers. You can see that's my tomato. Now I'm going to start doing the background here. One thing that Corel Painter allows me to do that regular paints don't is you can see here I'm painting right over the tomato with not even worrying about it, painting right over it. I can't do this with a regular. Well, I can paint over a regular painting, but what I'm going to do now is, obviously my background is heading into my painting, is that I can actually come in here now and erase this background and bring back in my tomato, which I can't do that with traditional paints. I would have to actually go back in and repaint the tomato. So there is just a very quick painting of a tomato. Not a very good painting either. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of how tomatoes or any other painting gets done. But we just keep layering and working and layering and working until we get to a tomato that we like. If you have any questions about the process that I use, you are more than welcome to give me a call or you send me an email. I'm very happy to talk to you about it. And thank you very much for visiting apaintedpet.com.